I'm Phil Powers, thank you for clicking on this video. This is RingSlam Wrestling, where I talk about the wonderful, wild and wacky world of British wrestling. And there's a lot to talk about because I've just come back from a tour, and I tell you what, the world of British wrestling is as wild and wacky and bizarre as ever, where anything can happen. So keep watching, you're going to see some bone crunching, high flying British wrestling in this video. I'm going to start this video by answering a few questions, and the question I've been asked is, what is British wrestling like right now as of 2025? And I'm going to say it's on fire. British wrestling right now is on absolute fire. I am seeing some of the best wrestlers that I have seen in my entire career. I'm seeing some of the best upstarts, some of the best newbies I've seen in many years. Yes, I had my concerns a couple of years ago with the direction that British wrestling was going in, but as of now, right now, I can't say that I have ever been so impressed in all of my life with some of the talent and some of the wrestlers I'm seeing currently on the circuit, and especially some of the guys that I've been working with the last couple of weeks. I think they are absolutely brilliant and fabulous. Some of the best I've ever worked with in my entire career, and some great people coming back as well. Some fantastic wrestlers coming back. Some people that you might recognize, like Danny Blaze, back on the scene again. He's an absolute tremendous talent. To see him back wrestling is fantastic, and also to see Steve Savage back in the ring, being a four-time British wrestling champion, has just been brilliant. So in my opinion, to answer that question, right now British wrestling is on fire. We have some of the best talent I've ever seen in my entire career. I might be getting carried away because wrestling made me so depressed a couple of years ago, watching how downhill it was going. But the crowds are still coming out to the shows. The people are still turning up. So I think that says it all. I'm going to move on now, as we're going to go to our next question. And we have Jens from Hamburg on the line. Hello, Jens.
Hello, Phil. Thank you for having me on the show.
What's your question, mate?
I would like to say I was in England in the 1990s. At the time, the Dirt Bite Kid and Jason Cross, Stevie Knight and James Mason were top British wrestlers. None of these went to WWF. Out of all of the British wrestlers we see now that you wrestle with in LDN, is there any that you think could be signed for WWE or would be any good for WWE Europe?
I didn't know WWE Europe was such a thing, Jens, and you're not trying to poach talent, are you, to get them on the other side across the Atlantic?
Oh, no. And I'm just interested because I wonder if they're any better than the wrestlers in the 1990s in England.
It's a difficult one to judge, really, Jens, because the 90s was such a different time and a different style. But I would say, yeah, there is one or two that I think potentially could do it. And now a lot of it boils down to age, because WWE ain't going to sign a bunch of wrestlers in their mid-30s, and like that's kind of like the age group that we have them in. Or they're 28 and they've got jobs and they're comfortable and they're doing well in life. You don't really want it to be something where they go to WWE, don't do any good, and it ruins the rest of their life. But I would say there's a lad called Connor that's just come on the team. He's 21. He's in absolutely fantastic shape. Obviously, he's got a lot to learn, but I reckon somebody like him could easily, in the next couple of years, if he's groomed correctly right now, he could easily go to WWE. I've got a picture of him up here right now. Now, I hope that answers your question, mate.
I would have to book a flight to come and see him wrestle. He looks good. I would be interested to watch the shows and see how they are when when I come in the 90s, I come over and I wrestled for you on the holiday parks. You borrowed my sensei mask. You never give it back to me. Don't forget, you could always send it to me back in the post.
All right then, Jens, we'll leave it there, mate. Plenty more questions to go for this YouTube video. You take it easy, mate. Okay, to the next question. Hello.
Hello, this is Robert from Bradford.
Robert, it's Phil Powers here. Let's talk British wrestling. What question have you got for us?
I've been a big fan of the channel for a very long time. I used to watch it during the pandemic back in 2020 when you was doing Phil Powers off the cuff. You made a promise to everyone that this was going to be a British wrestling only channel, and all you was going to do was show rounds wrestling matches, and moving forward all of the shows were going to be rounds Lord Mount Evans rules of wrestling, but that never happened. Is there any time in the future that RingSlam Wrestling is going to go back to being a rounds-only wrestling channel and a rounds-only wrestling promotion, because none of the matches anymore seem to be rounds?
Well, thank you for that question, Robert. My answer simply is, during the pandemic, at the beginning of the pandemic, when I was doing off the cuff, I think the landscape of wrestling was very much different, and I felt at the time there was a little bit of a buzz for the rounds wrestling. I'm not saying there's not a buzz for the rounds wrestling anymore, because personally, Robert, that's what I like. That's what I prefer doing. That's what, if I had it my way, every single show would be rounds. That's my personal preference. But unfortunately, it didn't quite go that way. And with things that happened during the pandemic, it made it a little bit more difficult for me to push things in that direction. With the help of like Marty Jones and Johnny Saint and those guys, we were starting to build some momentum. But when the new school of wrestling come in after the pandemic, when things got back after the lockdown, it was very difficult to go in that direction. Very difficult. We were just like kind of surviving, but I'd love to do something again with the rounds in the future. And please keep watching the wrestling, mate. And maybe one day it will be rounds wrestling again. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds, mate?
Well, I just find it a lot more exciting to watch when it's rounds, and it reminds me of Les Kelly, Mick McManus, Steve Theodore, Nick McMichael, Jackie Pallow, and all of the favourites that I used to watch with my nan. I think people would enjoy it a lot more if it was still rounds, because it was really good when you were doing the rounds in 2019 with all the rules and the public warnings. I really enjoyed it, so did lots of other people.
If the pandemic would never have happened, Robert, it might have been completely different. The problem is that we have now is we don't really have the wrestlers that can work that kind of style. Hopefully, things will spin round again. What we need something like the Wrestling Channel or UK Gold to start showing the world of sport wrestling, and for it to become really popular again and get the youngsters into it so they can understand and get the magic.
Well, you totally missed the trick. It would be a lot more popular right now if it was rounds.
I do agree with you. I do completely agree with you, mate.
We stopped going because it's just complete and utter rubbish now.
I'm on your side, Robert. Thank you very much for asking that question, and thank you very much for calling. I hope you can give it another chance.
You mark my words, I'm right, but thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you very much. That's Robert from Bradford. If you want to be a part of the RingSlam Wrestling channel and the Let's Talk British Wrestling with Phil Powers, all you've got to do is send me an email, philwrestlinginfo@gmail.com. We can arrange a telephone call if you have a question to ask, I will answer it. You can say hello to your friends on the channel. You can be a part of the show. We had somebody from Germany, Jens from Germany, and Robert from Bradford on this week. Always looking for more people to be a part of the RingSlam Wrestling channel. We want to grow. We want to make this bigger. And yes, I understand. I apologise because the show has been a little bit delayed because I've been on the road wrestling with other commitments the last couple of weeks. Okay, now let's talk about what's going to be coming up on the RingSlam Wrestling channel. As you're aware, recently we posted a video that was an artificial intelligence documentary that I made that was about the girl wrestlers being banned. There is going to be a part 2 to that video coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to make any promises, but the video was very popular indeed. So far it has had 7,000 views, so like good numbers, obviously shows a lot of interest and a high demand for a part 2 to that. I've also promised a talk about the French Angel. That's in the post. I did promise that that video would be a couple of weeks ago. It's been delayed. And also I have a sponsor and a very good friend of mine that is getting me to do a video on Bull Pratt, the British wrestler Bull Pratt. It will probably be part of a watch, or it will be uploaded individually or on some part of the channel, but that Bull Pratt video will be coming up. Now I was hoping to get that up this week, but I've fallen a little bit behind with a couple of my own personal jobs, so let's hope that I get that done either next week or the week after. Also hope you enjoyed the match in the background to this video, and also here's a montage of a few of the photographs from the recent wrestling tour. It's very sad to report the sad passing of Mick Romeo, an absolutely fantastic professional wrestler. I myself only personally met him a few times, but he was a very good professional who used to have a holiday park run for Colin Deaton World of Sport D&D promotions. Very sad news to report. Well, that's it now from myself, Phil Powers. I really hope you enjoyed this video from the wild and wacky and bizarre world of British wrestling, where absolutely anything can happen. Please give us a like and subscribe, and please watch more of our videos. Over and out, and I'll see you at the matches.